Intel's next gen is looking worse than we thought. You can build your own Cyberpunk GPU, and Apple is suing a YouTuber for leaking their secrets. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're gonna be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Monday, July 21st, 2025. We're gonna start off today with details about Intel's next generation Arrow Lake refresh. You might remember that in a recent episode we discussed how there wasn't much coming to this lineup change besides a new NPU that was supposed to give it better AI tops, therefore could be Copilot Plus certified, or whatever badging they wanted to slap on their pre-built PCs. However, according to new reports, that is not happening. The NPU refresh is not going to be occurring, and the only difference between the current generation of Arrow Lake chips, the Core Ultra 200 and the Core Ultra 300, is likely going to be the same thing that was different between the 13 series and the 14 series, which is clock speed. It's just going to be slightly clocked faster, which not necessarily great. There's also reports that AMD is also canceling a launch of Medusa Halo, which was supposed to be the successor to the Strix Halo APUs that we're currently getting in things like the Framework Desktop or the ROG Flow Z13. That appears to be not on the roadmap anymore. So it's not just Intel who's not coming out with good things. It looks like AMD is putting a pause on some of their good stuff as well. I can't say I'm utterly shocked, but it is a bit of a disappointment. But you know what doesn't have to disappoint you? Today's video sponsor. Time for a riddle. Who is the #1 online marketplace for gamers to buy and sell PC hardware that is also sponsoring this video? Jawa.gg is the correct answer. They're the one-stop online shop for new and used hardware, as well as fully built gaming PCs. Safety and security are top priorities for Jawa, so no matter what side of a transaction you're on, all information is secure as a first-generation Labubu. Just for extra peace of mind, every listing on the website is reviewed by a real person before you even see it. If you're an extra special good little fella, Jawa gives you this verification badge to let shoppers know you only give the best of the best. So with all that in mind, let's see what Jawa's currently got. Building a PC is an XP waste? You'd rather be one-tick barbarian fishing in OSRS? Brother, do I hear you? And luckily, Jawa can match you with an already built gaming PC that is perfect for your needs. Simply let them know your game's resolution and FPS, then you'll be presented with your perfect match. No cable management required. Or maybe you want to skip the thinking and just go straight for the best of the best. Checking out their pro gamer level PCs gives us this 9800 X3D and 5090 chunker, and it's white and gold. Super clean. Now let's do a 180 and check out the budget options. Jawa can hook you up with a PC for as low as 440 smackaroons. Point is, Jawa has a PC for everyone at every budget. Check out what they have specifically for you right now via the link in the description below. Make sure you head over to their official Discord to brag about your new rig too. And don't forget, using code UFD10 saves you 10% up to $10. Thanks to Jawa for sponsoring today's video. Well, if you're going to use any of the parts of the PC that you picked up from Jawa to run Clear Linux, you're not going to get support for that anymore because Intel, amongst all of the troubles that they're having, announced that Clear Linux is officially shut down effective immediately. In case you're not familiar with Clear Linux, because I sure wasn't, according to Phoronix, it was one of the fastest Linux distros that was out there, both for Intel processors, but apparently some of the x86 64 secret sauce that Intel put into this made it also faster on AMD chips, so it apparently was really good for aggressive optimization, and now it's not going to be coming out. This is on top of all of the layoffs that have been happening with Intel, how the layoffs at the Oregon campus were significantly higher than what was expected. There's layoffs that are taking place across many different aspects: managerial, marketing, foundry, engineers. People are just getting kicked out of Intel left, right, and center as the new CEO tries to implement his new vision. And my vision for you is that you might save some money on some PC deals. That's my CEO's vision for what Reece is about to do for you.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals on the internet. Happy Monday, everyone. Hope you guys had a good weekend, and I'll jump into the deals for you. Starting off, we have this Corsair 5000D RGB mid-tower case with 3 AF120 fans going for only $149.99, making it $70 off. But then next up, we have this MSI X870 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi AM5 ATX motherboard for only $249.99, making it $80 off. And then lastly, we have this Alienware 27-inch 1440p 360Hz OLED monitor, currently going for its all-time low of $586.99, making it $313 off. And hey, with that, the deals are done. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I'm gonna hand you off back to Brett for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, you already saved me the money that I needed to make this happen. Video Cards reporting that you can convert a 2080 Ti Founders Edition into a Cyberpunk 2077 card. You might be wondering, how could you possibly make that happen? Because that was a giveaway. It was a limited edition thing that Nvidia did back when the 2080 Ti was relevant and Cyberpunk was still nascent and kind of buggy. They released this beautiful yellow card, and what Video Cards found out was that there are shells of this being sold over on eBay where you can buy the frame for it and just replace a Founders Edition 2080 Ti with a Cyberpunk one. The only thing I have to say to this is that I'm curious that this is now making the news, considering we did a video on this over a year ago and I was already late to the story. And in fact, this Cyberpunk GPU sits on the shelf at the hot news set at the new office. Yeah, that's the Cyberpunk 2080 Ti that I built myself and made a video on a while ago. This has been a thing for a very long time, but in case you're interested, you can get a cool looking GPU. 2080 Ti's aren't that expensive. You can make it happen. It's just that the eBay listing to get the shroud is like, you're gonna make the GPU significantly more expensive than it's supposed to be, but boy, howdy, will it look good. And what doesn't look good at first glance is the lawsuit that's happening between Apple and Jon Prosser, who runs the YouTube channel Front Page Tech. Apple filing a lawsuit against him and a co-conspirator with regards to stealing trade secrets for the leaks that happened to go out on his channel regarding iOS 19, which is what it was expected to be called back then. We now know it's iOS 26. But in this lawsuit, it's not just that Apple doesn't want leaked things getting out there, but rather it's the manner in which Jon Prosser and his co-conspirator are being accused of actually procuring this information. So according to the Apple lawsuit, they indicate that Mr. Prosser knew that a certain individual needed some money and was staying in the home of a known Apple employee who had access to a development iPhone. And that individual determined when the Apple employee would be gone, found out the passcode to said iPhone, and then when they could secretly get into the iPhone, they did that and then recorded all of the details that ended up into the iOS 19 videos that are on Front Page Tech's YouTube channel. And according to the co-conspirator, at least listed in Apple's lawsuit, is that Jon Prosser proposed the scheme and promised to find a way out for Mr. Ramacciati to get payment because he was struggling with finances at the current moment. So that's what Apple is alleging happened. Something beyond just being informed of leaks, but rather illegal access to company devices, having a scheme in place to access a device illegally that wasn't in their property and violated the trust of a friend that was working for Apple at the time. And Apple says that both defendants knew that Apple goes to great lengths to protect their trade secret information, including the highly sensitive information contained on devices used for the express purpose of developing new products, and they also explicitly acknowledged they were not authorized to access those devices, much less steal Apple's trade secrets from them. So it is not just a case of Jon Prosser got leaks from a known Apple informant and chose to keep them private and not reveal their identity, but rather that there was a coordinated scheme to access a device that they did not have ownership of. And the friend who happened to work at Apple, Mr. Lipnick, was subsequently fired for not properly securing development iPhones and not actually following the procedures that were supposed to happen for such a device, but didn't know why until the videos went live. And then in the Front Page Tech video, he could see his apartment in the leaks. And Apple says that there was even more on the iPhone that they still have access to that they haven't yet revealed, that is still confidential information. So this lawsuit is proceeding with that, and they're asking for a judgment in Apple's favor against the defendants, injunctive relief, damages in the amount to be proven at trial, and punitive damages based on the defendant's willful and malicious misappropriation of trade secrets. Now, all of that paints a pretty damning picture against Jon Prosser and his co-conspirator, but he responded on Twitter saying that this is not how the situation played out on his end, and that he has receipts for this, and that he did not plot to access anyone's phone and did not have any passwords and was unaware of how the information was obtained. And he says he looks forward to speaking with Apple on this, which, in case you're wondering, isn't he getting sued? Won't he have to go to court and talk to the court about all of this? Well, there have been other instances in the past where Apple has sued leakers, such as Ben here over on Twitter saying that he had an email from Apple's lawyers with court and fines threats. They had negotiations, calls, meetings, and that regardless of his denial of guilt with evidence, they didn't care there. It took a month. He signed an agreement deleting the post that Apple didn't like, and that was the end of his Apple activity, including posting Apple leaks indefinitely. So there's some expectation that that might be what's happening here with Front Page Tech and Apple. They are filing an official lawsuit, but if they could potentially settle this behind closed doors and make it so that Front Page Tech and Jon Prosser don't actually cover Apple stuff anymore, that might be the result that they're looking for. However, that is speculation. But this is not the only controversy that's coming out about Jon Prosser during this whole thing, especially with the notes in the lawsuit that a lot of this happened because Jon Prosser's friend needed money. There have been people who have worked for Jon Prosser before in the past and Front Page Tech who did things such as renders and 3D art for him, who indicate that they did not get paid appropriately, or did not get paid on time, and they posted all of the details with regards to that, and there appears to be at least a history of some behavior going on behind the scenes with regards to promises of financial contribution and then it not actually paying out. So we'll keep an eye on how this lawsuit goes, or if there's any development that happens outside the courts. I've seen a lot of commentary and discussion surrounding this, that this could potentially be Apple going after everybody who happens to cover things that are not yet announced, but this appears to be a very exceptional circumstance, at least based on what Apple is alleging happened. But let me know what you think of this whole situation down below in the comments while I read what you had to say on Friday's episode of Hot News. We got somebody talking about the AI Pro 9070 XT and saying they need to call it the double stuff 9070 XT. I like that idea. That's a good one. And then a Vidi Miss saying, a 32GB VRAM GPU finally sounds like a worthy upgrade for my 1080 Strix. The 5090's been out for a while, bud. There's been a 32GB GPU. AMD, I get it. You meant the AMD GPU, but I'm just saying, 32GB GPU's been around for a while. You didn't have to wait for this 9070 XT double stuff for it. And then Koi the Pig saying, I want that Gravistar GPU so badly, but it's way too expensive. I hear you. Thankfully, we're going to be putting it in a PC build and giving it away, so you might have an opportunity to actually get it if you just stay up to date on what we're doing. I purchased it. I don't know when I'm going to get it. They didn't give me a shipping date, but hopefully before I move to South Africa, that would be great. But in case you want a 5090 PC, we're giving that away over on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/UFD Tech, and we have another 9070 XT PC that we're giving away over on our twitch.tv/UFD Music stream, in case you're interested in that. And I'm interested in ending this episode of Hot News. I'll see you back here for more of the hottest tech news sometime later this week.